So this one just came back in. If you've been watching me for a while, you might recognize this one. This is Ace. I had him as a long yearling, almost a 2-year-old, to halter break him. And now he's just turned 3 and he's back to be started. And this is the first time that I've worked him since he came back. When I sent him home, probably a year ago or a little more, he was ready to get on and ride off. He just wasn't old enough. So now I'm going to see how much of that he remembers, what I need to work on so that we can ride him. I had ponied him a lot off of Bob when he was here before. And they said that they mostly trail ride, and they said they have been taking him and ponying him with them when they trail ride. So I expect that that is still good. But I want to see how his steering is. So I'm going to saddle him up, I'm going to drive him, we're going to see how he takes the saddle. I saddled him with a small saddle when he was here before. And he was ready to step on and ride off, he just wasn't old enough. So today I'm going to find out what I need to work on to get him back there. I'm sure when we get on him the first time, we'll do that with him ponied off of Bob so that he don't buck or do anything too bad. He's still kind of small. His mama was a halflinger, and what the story was his owner bought what was supposed to be their first family horse and got her home, and she turned out to be a really nice horse. But a few months later, he came along, big surprise. They didn't know she was bred. So they weren't prepared to have a baby, didn't know she was even bred. So that was kind of a steep learning curve for them that they weren't prepared for, but they have reached out and got plenty of help from me and some friends, and they have done a good job with him for not knowing anything to begin with. Now let's see how he does when I put the saddle up there. Normally first saddling I'd put the girth and the stirrup up, but since I know he's been saddled before, I'm going to throw it up there like he's broke, and we're going to see what happens. I know how good he saddled when he left, and he saddled basically like a broke horse. So I would like to try to start back there. I would be surprised if we don't have to go back and remind him of something, but we will see. It's actually doing pretty good so far. I'm going to have to let the girth down on the other side. He's bigger around than I thought he was. He's bigger around than Breeze. Pay attention. I really don't want him to walk off and the saddle fall. If I can help it. So I'm not going to fuss at him for the walking, but I'll remember that this is something we need to spend some time working on. Go around again. Once I get to this point, I can't stop. I have to go on and get it tight enough so it won't fall off. You remember what this felt like? All right, let's move your feet. Move your feet. There we go. Good boy. He doesn't seem worried at all about what I'm doing. He's more looking around, more interested in the other horses, which I'm really happy to see. Not worried about what I'm doing tells me that he remembers a lot of what I did before. All right, I'm gonna put a lunge line on him, and we're gonna lunge a little bit, see how it stopped, turn, and then we're gonna ground drive him. See where we're at there. I really don't want him to go too fast. Trot with a little effort is plenty fast enough. A little bit more reactive than I thought he would be. Come on, let's try that again. Come on. You think it's better in there? Gonna have to work on that some. Huh, the step there. How about that? See how I run up to that step, stopped and looked at me like, well, what do you want me to do? That's why I like to have stuff in here. He's doing what I'm asking him to do. He's just a little more overreactive than what I'd like. But that's definitely something we can work on. This way. He's not pulling on me much at all. That's a nice stop and turn. He remembers how to use his body. Over here. Over here. There we go. Over here. All right, let's go get our other line and we're going to drive. Good boy. I could spend time lunging back and forth and getting that better. But with this being the first time that he's worked since he's been back, first time I've worked him, I suspect that he's going to need a time or two to get his mind back on the routine that we had before. And I want to see just what all I have to work with in the whole picture. See how much he retained and what remedial work I need to go do. Overall, I think he's retained a lot. I think maybe just accessing it might be what we need to work on. Since I know that I drove him before, I'm not going to desensitize his legs to the rope like I would if I didn't think a horse, or I didn't know if a horse had been driven. But I know he has because I've done it. Turn left. Turn left. You remember Bob? Bob's who ponied you last time. That's who will be ponying you again next time. That's got to give you a head. All right, so now he's all tangled up in the ropes. I'm not going to just throw the ropes down. I want him to get okay with the ropes. If I'm trail riding him and he gets a limb all tangled up, a vine all tangled up in his legs, I want him to think about what's happening and work his way through it. See how he stopped there? He stopped, his brain came on me, and he started asking, what do you want me to do? That's what I want. We need a little more go, but when he panics, I want his brain to come back on me. That's what's going to make him a safe trail horse later. Let's get a little forward, come on. I have the lines attached to the halter like I always do. I'm not pulling on the bit, I'm not pulling on his mouth. I'm pulling on the halter. Let's go. There we go. Get some forward. I can work with the trot. Nope. Come on. Let's go. Get some forward. Get some forward. Go. Come on. All right. You're going to figure that out. Turn right. That's how you got in this mess. You didn't want to turn right a minute ago. You're pulling into the pressure. You going to turn right now? There you go. That's using your brain. Now let's turn left. Let's go. Got to go forward. Got to go forward. The biggest thing I see right here, he knows what I'm doing. It's his desire to do what I'm asking that needs most of the work. And with just a couple of times of working him, that's going to come. I got his feet moving on a lunge line. Now let's see if we can work in behind him and drive. See how when I get into drive position, he wants to put his head down. We gotta keep going. He puts his head down, I start smelling the ground. That's, for him at this situation, it's not always a situation, but for him, that's him telling me, I don't want to do what you're telling me to do. I want to do my thing. So that's why I'm going to send him forward and go back to lunging, get some forward. What I really want is to just walk behind him and drive. And if he'll do that politely, that's what we're going to do. That's nice. But if he puts his head down to smell the ground and tell me I want to do my own thing, I'm going to send him forward. We'll go back to lunging. That's why I don't ever run the lines through the stirrups. If I do that, I don't have that option. It's much, much harder to swap back and forth from lunging to driving if you run your lines through the stirrups. This is much better. Good boy. See, now I'm not directly behind him in a driving position, but he's seeing me out of his right eye. So he's got a little bit of my position saying drive, saying lunge, go forward, but I got the right rein, outside rein, giving me a little bit of driving movement. Let's change directions and see what we have going to the right. Go forward. Work back in behind him, but I'll stay off to the side. See how he's looking at me on his right eye? That's okay. I'm okay with that. Now he lost me on his right eye and looked for me out of the left. He's done this enough that he knows how that works. If it had never been driven, when I disappeared on the right eye, he would have turned further to the right. Since there's that resistance again. Since he has been driven, he knew that when I disappeared on one side, to look for me on the other side. Comes in handy later. Now I got pressure on the left rein, trying to get his brain to kick in. Give to that pressure. Now let's go forward. Good boy. We'll need to get that fixed before we get on his back. That little bit of panic pushing into the pressure has to go away before we get on his back. I don't think that's going to be very hard to fix. Let's turn back to the left. Turn to the left. See how he's fighting that pressure. There we go. Good boy. Good boy. Now I change directions and that long line ends up behind the stirrup between him and the stirrup and his side. I just flip it off and the stirrup comes back and kind of bangs him. I want him to be okay with that banging on the side. He might jump at some point and my leg might bang him on the side. I want him okay with that. Working on getting him broke. Yep, looking at Bob again. I think he recognizes Bob. Bob punted him a good bit when he was here before. He didn't even know how to lead when he was here before. So Bob pretty much taught him how to lead. Now watch that. Whoop, he put his head down. Let's go forward. I was going to flip the right stirrup, but he put his head down and it came out on his own. Let's turn left again. Need to do lots of changing direct. There we go. That's better. Need to do lots of changing direction so he doesn't push into that pressure. Let's see if we can come back and drive him over that board. Well, go back and do it again. There we go. Let's go the other way. Turn right. Resisting that pressure again, but that'll get better. That's better than we started. Now let's see if we can go over the board this time. It's already wanting to go around it. Come on, Go forward. There you go. See, I'm not too concerned about the angle that he goes to the board. That's his problem. He needs to pay attention to where he puts his feet. All right, let's go the other way. Give to the right. Give to the right. There you go. All right, see, I didn't let go of the pressure. I still put a little bit of pressure on him, but I didn't just lock down. I kind of went with him. Now we're going to see if we can unwind him. See if your brain's going to work. You're going to have to circle left. Come on. You got into it. You got to figure out how to get out. There you go. Now let's go left some more. Go left. There you go. Good boy. Now let's go forward. Yep. So in the process of all that, he learned such valuable skills about not panicking, which is going to be really useful later. Not going to go over the border, huh? It's funny, he'll go over it the other way. There we go. Let's see if we got any stop. Whoa. Whoa, while you let him work his way to the wall to help, if he needs to. Then now he's putting his head down. Let's back up. You know, back up. He's going to need a lot more driving. I think this is going to come quick for him, but his brain just isn't in the right place. Let's back up again. He's still wanting to push into the pressure. Ponying is going to help a lot of that. Bob will fix a lot of that for me. Just wanting to fight that pressure. You want to back up now? Good boy. Good boy. One more step. One more step and I'll quit. There we go. Good boy. So this is Ace. I did quite a few videos of him as a yearling, long yearling. He was almost 2. But I'm going to start a new playlist over. And so you can see what it's like to get started on the saddle. Until next time, thank you for watching.